More than a dozen laws aimed at making California an abortion sanctuary state. Several of the new laws would block some out-of-state subpoenas and empower the California Insurance Commissioner to penalize health insurance companies that divulge information to out-of-state entities. COVID hospitalizations jumped 17% in the UK last week, and the US may not be far behind. KCBS's Holly Kwan tells us that has local COVID doctors urging people to get boosted ahead of a winter surge.
If the previous 2 years are any indication, we should start to see cases going up starting in October, which is only 4 days away. UCSF Chair of Medicine Dr. Bob Wachter tweeting that he's keeping a close watch on the Europe numbers because that could be us if people wait to get boosted. UCSF infectious disease expert Dr. Peter Chin Hong agrees if more people get boosted, we can keep the hospitals open for people sick with things other than COVID.
Even though cases are in a lull in the Bay Area, you have people from all over the world coming, including from Europe. Europe is experiencing the beginnings of a winter surge right now in some countries like Belgium, UK, and Denmark. So I think that it is what it is, but it is probably the best time to do it before cases may go up again later in the year.
But 3 weeks after the rollout of the latest BA.5 specific booster, the CDC says only 1.5% of people eligible have gotten a shot. This as immunity from previous vaccinations is waning. Holly Kwan, KCBS.
Yesterday was National Gay Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Karen Adams reports that health officials urge those at risk to get their tests.
A doctor with the Health Resources and Services Administration says there's a lot of complacency and stigmas around getting tested for HIV. In parts of the country, we have discriminatory laws as well that really make people not necessarily interested in getting tested or not thinking about it a lot. So we like to encourage them and remind people that people with HIV who are tested and started on medication can live a near normal lifespan and cannot transmit HIV to their sexual partner.
Dr. Laura Cheever tells KNX 1 in 8 people who have the infection do not know because they haven't been tested.
Many people who are at risk actually don't necessarily view themselves as being at risk.
In 2019, an estimated 1.2 million people in the U.S. had HIV. Of those, more than half were gay and bisexual men.
Karen Adams reporting from Los Angeles. Santa Clara County might see another record-breaking year in homelessness, with 14 people dying on the streets in September alone. As of last Friday, 167 homeless people have died in Santa Clara County this year. Roughly 60 deaths were drug-related. And a Chico man is facing charges for allegedly stealing the identity and money from his dead roommate. Butte County officials say 57-year-old David Pirtle has been writing checks from the bank account of his roommate Kevin Olson, who died at the age of 64. He perhaps disappeared more than 4 years ago. Chico police issued a search warrant last Wednesday and found Olson's body at the home, with Pirtle still living there. Coming up on KCBS.
I'm Kathy Novak. How Bay Area first responders are preparing to protect locals from nuclear and other attacks.
And at 2:45, here's your sports line. Well, the Angels opened their final homestand of the season with a 4-3 victory over the A's. Nick Allen with a 2-run double for the last place A's, who opened their last road trip of the season with their 98th loss, the worst in the American League. And the Giants beat the Rockies at home 5-2 with only 8 games to go. More sports now. Here's Steve Langford.
Stephen Curry is an NBA champion and holds numerous records. His legacy has already been set within the NBA, yet he continues to play at an elite level at 34 years old. Now, Klay Thompson has been his teammate since 2011 and was asked by reporters how long he feels Steph can play at that level.
I think he can do it as long as he wants. Steph works so hard. He's in great shape, and he really just loves the game.
To what age?
He's extremely competitive, so I think Steph can do this until he's 40. I mean, his game is suited for it.
There have only been 31 players in NBA history who have played until their age 40 season. So if he's able to do so, that means we get 6 more years to watch Steph Curry play basketball.
Guess you need a refresher on the championship run from last year.
Yeah, that's a true documentary series called Cold-Blooded. The series has a total of 7 episodes, and it will tell the story of the Golden State Warriors' journey to the 2022 NBA championship. The series is narrated by veteran Andre Iguodala. New episodes will be released every Tuesday and Thursday up until the regular season. At the CBS.
class. A quick head count. Me, here. Zach. Yo. Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. Hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing support relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesinschools.org.
CBS News Time, 2:48. How's traffic this morning, Carolyn?
Well, we'll head back to the Los Altos Hills. We're on earlier northbound 280 after Page Mill Road. We had a SUV that hit a deer. That SUV made its way to the right-hand shoulder, and they're still waiting for a tow truck. But the deer has since been moved to that center divide, so now all of the lanes are clear throughout that stretch. And then the Oakland area on eastbound 580 in between Lake Park Avenue and 14th Avenue. We have 3 lanes that are shut down right now. They're still doing some pavement work, and we are still seeing some traffic in that area that is a little bit under the limit. But once you get through past that and you make your way into Castro Valley, you'll be up to the limit. Westbound 580, as you make your way across the Altamont Pass, no problems to report there, other than the fact that there is a high wind advisory in effect. So just keep both hands on the wheel. But everything looks good into that 580, 680 interchange. Your next traffic updates at 2:58 on the traffic leader KCBS.
Lots of sunshine today, a little bit of fog at the coast, however, highs from the 60s to the mid-80s this afternoon, tomorrow, and Friday into the upper 80s and low 90s, and then we're back to the 80s again Saturday through Monday. Slightly cooler, but a little less fog starting on the weekend. Traffic and weather together on the 8th on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Elton John's Farewell Yellow Brick Road Tour continues with 2 shows at Levi Stadium on October 8th and 9th. For more info and tickets, head to kcbsradio.com/events.
The listening you love is on the free Odyssey app. Your trusted local radio stations, coverage of your favorite teams, live news from your hometown, and millions of podcasts on demand. Best of all, you can completely customize your listening experience. Follow topics you care about, like leagues and teams. Pause or rewind your local sports and news, and add shows to your queue to catch up later. There's a lot to listen to, so get started and download the free Odyssey app today.
KCBS News Time, 2:50. I'm John Evans, editing the news this morning. Deborah Ingerson. The past few years have presented challenges from disease outbreaks to wildfires, and so how prepared are we to respond to other kinds of threats? KCBS's Kathy Novak reports that was the topic of discussion at a meeting of first responders and other experts in San Francisco.
While naturally occurring threats have been keeping us all on our toes, security experts have been preparing for other scenarios.
We have a lot of special events, we have parades, we have so many things going around in the Bay Area, sporting events and so forth. And so by working with all the first responders, we're on the preparation side and detecting anything that could harm us.
Craig Dizek is general manager of the Bay Area Urban Area Security Initiative. They've been exchanging expertise with counterparts from other cities that, like San Francisco, receive grants as part of the federal Securing the Cities program. Gary Rascott is acting assistant secretary of the DHS Countering Weapons of Mass Destruction Office.
The city of San Francisco should be very proud of their first responders. They are doing all they can do, leveraging all the federal programs they can to make sure that the citizens of this region are protected and that the first responders are prepared to respond to any incidents that may occur.
In San Francisco, Kathy Novak, KCBS.
A libertarian group in California filed a legal challenge to President Biden's plan for student debt cancellation, calling it an illegal overreach that would increase state tax burdens. The lawsuit was filed by Pacific Legal Foundation, filed in federal court in Indiana, one of several states that plans to tax any student debt canceled by Biden's plan. The group argues that some borrowers will automatically get tax relief, but then face a big state